This is a re-edited version with human voiceover. Check pinned comment to see what parts are new. Season 1 ends where Volume 2 of the graphic novels ends.
How many times did you throw a shoe?
I'm glad you asked. I'm really not very good at throwing. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm weirdly actually quite clumsy. So on that day, I was hyper aware of the fact that I'd got to throw this thing and aim for his back and hit him every time. And slippers are not the easiest things to throw because, you know, they've got uneven weight on the front and the back. So it just wasn't going great. And there was one point where they were setting up a different shot. And I just went out into the corridor with Reese, one of our runners, and just practiced aiming at things, just constantly trying to get it right. There's probably quite a few versions of that scene where the beginning is just not. I just completely just hit something else in the room, or I don't think I ever hit Joe in the head. I don't think there was ever any damage done, but yeah, I was pleased with the one they chose at the very least.
You're being very loud.
I always wondered why he would even have a chair there, the one Tori sits on.
Are you angry at anything in particular? Or have you decided to finally have a rebellious phase?
Didn't you hear about Harry Green's fight with Nick and Tao? Both my fault, by the way.
Yeah, I'm like 95% sure they were both Harry's fault and I wasn't even there.
Thank God for Tori and her sense of reason.
Before I met Nick, I was sort of going out with this other guy.
And he hasn't been able to talk about anything that happened with him with anyone but Nick before this moment.
I liked him, but he made me feel like I was ruining his life.
And Charlie was seeing Ben for 3 to 4 months. Who knows what else happened in that time that we didn't see.
And now Nick's lost all his friends, and he's getting into fights because of me.
Charlie's so caught up in his guilt that he doesn't see that Nick would have figured out he was bisexual at some point anyway, whether he was with Charlie or not. Nick's friends being homophobic is also personal to Nick because he isn't straight, so it isn't even all because of Charlie anyway. Nick needed to go on this journey distancing himself from harmful people, and it's not really that he lost his friends. He chose to stop tolerating their behavior for both their sakes.
And I just feel like maybe I do just ruin people's lives. Could it be better if I didn't exist?
Probably my favourite scene was episode 8 with Charlie and Tori, and Charlie's feeling a bit emotional, and it was just Jenny, who plays Tori, is just the most lovely and amazing person, and it was just really lovely to have such like a heartfelt scene with her. And yeah, that's probably my favourite scene.
I'm sure you've said this at some point. You must have said this. I must have like been sitting next to you. I probably wasn't listening. I think you had quite a lot of fun in all of them, really.
I did, but there is one that's
maybe
like...
There's one scene that is
And I've said
specifically...
it in an interview.
Was I there?
Yeah.
Ooh, I get that. That does look bad on me. What was your favourite?
The scene in episode 8 with me and Jenny when I'm crying at the drums.
Yeah, okay.
That's okay. It's even from Heartstopper.
I'm going to say a scene that I'm not in, so that's really, selfless. But I would say actually one of like the most heartbreaking scenes is in episode 8 when it's between Charlie and Tori at the drum kit. And I remember when I watched it the first time with Joe, I don't cry very often, and I cried. And it was just, yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking. Well done, Joe. Keep it.
You're not ruining my life.
Which was your favorite scene to be a part of, and why?
I think it's got to be in episode 8, the scene between me and Joe, where Charlie, breaks down. It's heartbreaking, and it's so well written by Alice. And it was just a really special day on set as well, because it was my last day on set. So I was already feeling quite emotional, and then to have to do that scene, yeah, it was quite a nice one to end on. And I really felt connected to Joe and really proud of Joe, because that was a hard scene to film and he does such an incredible job in it. And yeah, I just felt a lot of love actually just in that scene, and that one for sure for me.
I could make us some pizza for dinner. Would that help?
I'm not very hungry. I might just eat later.
Okay.
Tao? I heard Harry got suspended for fighting, so that's good.
He said he doesn't want to talk to you.
I think he's definitely non-confrontational. Like, conflict of any sort is the worst thing that could ever happen for Isaac. Which is like, there's that scene on the final episode where Tao's not speaking to Charlie and Isaac kind of becomes this weird middleman, and he's like, I hate this so much. I don't want to choose a friend to be friends with more. Like, I think that's the most uncomfortable moment for Isaac in the whole season. But yeah, especially when Tao gets the ball thrown at him, I think Isaac is more scared of Harry and the boys' reaction than he is of Tao being annoyed at him for not sticking up for him. I think secretly Tao knows that Isaac's not going to get involved. But there was a moment afterwards when Tao sits back down and Isaac has a nice moment of being like, oh, like, are you all right, mate? I hope you're okay. But it didn't make sense time-wise. But yeah, I think conflict is always a no for Isaac. So yeah.
Isaac's book of the day is Gender Explorers by Juno Roche. The book is a collection of interviews from young trans people about their experiences. Goes to show Isaac is very interested in being a good ally to his friends. Here's Alice's review of the book on Goodreads. Pause if you want to read.
Hey.
Hey.
And then after that, they showed us the mural that they painted on one of the corridors they're shooting, and it's this like, it's meant to be like the Great Wave, but done in a sort of Alice Oseman style. And yeah, it's just so cool. Every time I walk down that corridor for the rest of the shoot, I would look at it and just be like, wow, like that's so cool.
Of course, referencing the Great Wave of Kanagawa by Hokusai.
Did you want to get lunch together? I can't. Sorry.
Nick was just trying to forget and ignore that the last time he saw Charlie he was clearly trying to break up. Okay.
I think I'm gonna quit the rugby team.
Charlie never quits the rugby team in the graphic novels, so I wonder if he'll rejoin it later in the show. He didn't seem to be embraced by the team nor enjoy playing as much in the show, so who knows?
Definitely, I think that people who are suited together don't necessarily like the same things. Especially, I think at the heart of it, Charlie probably really doesn't like rugby. And he's only really doing it because Nick likes rugby and it's to be with Nick. So I think it's definitely, and definitely I think you can be suited for each other while not liking the same things. I think sometimes that can be a nice thing as well.
Why?
I just don't think rugby's for me.
Have the boys been giving you a hard time?
Yes.
Where's Charlie?
I thought he'd be here.
I thought he was eating with you.
Probably also one of my most enjoyable scenes to film was a scene that I have with Will Gao, who plays Tao, and I think that's because with our characters being sort of not enemies, but they don't really sort of see eye to eye. It was quite rare to have a scene with Will, and Will's great, a great actor and a great friend as well. So I really enjoyed being able to have a nice long scene just alongside him and not have to sit alongside Joe Locke, for once. That was nice.
He's really nice to me.
Whoa! Charlie's my friend. I was so worried about him joining the rugby team and becoming friends with you because I knew that he'd get picked on by some of the idiots in your year. And guess what? He did.
Well, that is partly the reason Tao was worried. He's slightly editing himself to make it seem like he was right. He was mainly worried about Nick messing with Charlie himself, but he's conveniently not mentioning that because he turned out to be wrong there.
I'm done trying to protect him when he's forgotten I exist. Like, I deserve to be appreciated.
I'm glad Tao knows his worth, but he still needs to learn the hard lesson that at some point you have to let your friends make their own mistakes. He's also learning here that he doesn't necessarily know what's best for Charlie better than Charlie does, even though all signs seem to point to Nick being trouble before. This is very hard to accept and he's still very young. Sometimes you give lots of yourself to others willingly, but if they didn't ask for it and told you they don't want your protection, you may feel your effort is wasted and you're not getting the same in return. Good lord, I relate to this boy like you wouldn't believe. And just to clarify, no, Charlie was not making a mistake being with Nick, obviously. I just meant that Tao needed to let it go and let Charlie do what he wanted instead of constantly telling him what he should and shouldn't do.
I think Charlie might be nervous about telling you because he really cares about your opinion.
And also because you have been very aggressive about how much you hate Nick.
Because he loves you a lot.
Oh, I'll believe that when I actually see it. Why is he avoiding you?
I really liked a lot of the scenes. I have to say, I did a scene with Kit in the last episode where kind of Nick and Tao kind of have this chat about why they're avoiding Charlie and like how this has got to this point and how things have got to this point in the show. And I really enjoyed that scene with Kit because Kit's a really good mate of mine off screen as well. And it was quite a long scene and it was quite a challenge, but I had that trust with him. Like I did with all of them, but I just felt we were really in a rhythm that day and it really went well. So it's probably my favourite scene.
I think maybe he's finding it hard having to lie to people about us.
It's interesting that Nick thinks this is the problem because it's clearly what Nick himself is worried about. Nick has been stressed and guilty about making Charlie lie from the start. This conversation with Tao is so important because he can get a different perspective and understand what's going on through Charlie's mind from a childhood friend who knows and understands Charlie in a different way.
He's not angry about me being in the closet or anything, like, he knows I'm not ready to come out, but...
I've known Charlie since we were 11, and he's always had a tendency to believe that him just existing is annoying for other people.
Yeah. I sort of got that impression.
I think that's what's so special about the show as well. When I was watching it, I thought it was so great that there's this group of teenagers who are talking so openly and honestly about their feelings, and it's such a kind of undercurrent to the show, but it's so powerful in that way. They're all talking about their feelings all the time, and I think it really shows how empowering open and honest chats can be, right? Have you found that in your own life too?
Yeah, I think if anything, it's an authentic portrayal of like the Gen Z generation, because I think that in my teenage years, I've noticed that as we've got older and as society's moved on, people are more honest about their emotions, and it's a great thing. I think that it shows that society's changing in a way that people are more open about their mental health. Shows like Heartstopper are part of that change and help make that change even more. If we show a positive portrayal of someone talking about their mental health and talking about how they're feeling, then hopefully that would help other people start to go on that journey and start to sort of become more open about their feelings.
He's not going to force you to come out, which is good.
But in Heartstopper we show both Nick's journey and also Charlie's journey. Charlie's journey is what it's like afterwards, whereas Nick's journey is sort of the start of it. And it's so great that Charlie's able to sort of be there for him and let him take his time, because I think that people sort of rush before they're ready sometimes, and it's a big thing coming out. It's a big thing sort of telling people who you are, and so it's such a great that Charlie is there for Nick in a reassuring and gentle way, and he doesn't ever like rush him to make those decisions, and he never puts what he thinks onto Nick, and that's such an important thing and an important healthy thing to show queer kids and friends of queer kids and allies and everyone really. Take your time, sort of don't rush.
And he would literally never tell you this, but he probably wants to be something more than secret guy you kiss sometimes on the down low.
And Tao doesn't even know that he's already been that to someone very recently.
And if you can't give him more than that, then, I mean, that's fine.
That is surprisingly understanding from Tao given how he's been. Tao is such a good guy even though he gets overly intense sometimes.
But it's always going to make him feel a little bit crap about himself.
Oh.
That was so important for him to hear, especially since Charlie wouldn't tell him himself.
You should talk to him.
Yeah, so should you.
No. I'm going to stay pissed off with him for a bit longer.
The scene with Kit, it was really the first time that Tao gave Nick the time of day to have that discussion. And so ultimately, what do you think Tao took away from that conversation?
I think he really got a sense of Charlie, and he got a sense of how Charlie had been feeling and how he'd gone through all of this stuff. And for Tao, it was a realization of, oh, hang on a minute, I'm not the only one feeling things here. Charlie's feeling things as well. And I really, it's this big realization for Tao. And I think that was the best thing to play in the scene. And also it's a realization for Nick's character, I think, in that scene, having watched it back. And yeah, I just think an oversense of understanding and realization.
You should try rugby. It's good for releasing negative emotions.
I so badly want to hear what they talked about for the rest of lunch.
Spring.
Alice Oseman style banner.
Feels like years since I was back here. Are you sure you want to go back to Trim? Because you don't have to. We could all pretend to have sprained ankles or something. No. I want to do this.
Believe that they can find happiness.
Pete! Whoa! Yaz is wrapped. She did it.
I did it. How does it feel? Sad.
Don't you stop?
I'm actually doing it with you guys.
Reactions to the PE shorts. Every UK viewer. Oh, I remember those shorts. Viewers from everywhere else. Is he wearing boxers?
Help!
Hi!
Oh my god, it's literally like old times.
It's easier to love when it's you by my side. Shines in the night. Help! Living in your arms as years go by. It's easier to love.
Because if you haven't signed up for an event, Miss Zero will hunt you down and murder you.
So everyone, who's ready for the final sports day look? Here it is. Giving you PE kit realness, sports day realness, got the classic Isaac shoes on. Look at my fantastic makeup. Obsessed.
Here are 5 Easter eggs hidden in the makeup in Heartstopper. Spoilers ahead. Hair and makeup designer Deandra Ferreira told me that Sports Day was the day they got to have a lot of fun and show the character journeys through makeup. The doodles on Elle's face match those we see in the graphic novel. These flowers represent Isaac's sensitive personality. Tara and Darcy have matching complementary makeup to show their journey of being out and proud. Imogen has hearts to represent the understanding and acceptance of Nick's decisions. And my personal favorite are Charlie's sun rays. This, of course, is a foreshadowing of their trip to the beach later. And the best scene ever.
Where's Charlie?
Haven't seen him. Haven't seen him. It's my line today, guys.
I haven't seen him.
Wow. Have you seen him?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Might be a makeup though.
Yeah.
Notice how Isaac gives Tao a little hug too. Tao complained to Charlie in episode 4 that they got no hugs just because Charlie sees them all the time. Isaac knows his friend's needs and I love him.
So, good luck, one and all, and go do sports.
Mr. Ajayi?
Charlie, there aren't any sports day events going on in the art block.
I've got a boyfriend.
Oh, well, congratulations. Now, this may seem obvious, but have you tried putting some space between you?
No, what? I can't do that.
Or can't or don't want to?
No.
Don't let anyone make you disappear, Charlie. And when I was at school, I thought that hiding from it all was safer, easier. But sometimes the loneliness was just as bad. Don't let anyone make you disappear, Charlie.
I would have needed that advice in school as well. Mr. Ajayi is really an absolute dream as a teacher.
You'll be doing the 200 metres for Team Blue.
He needs to be over by the starting line in 3 minutes.
But miss, I can't run.
He really can't.
Can't you?
Well, not fast.
The mural is inspired by artist Julian O.P.
Swap babies with me.
How did Charlie hear that whole thing?
What? Why? You hate running, I'll run it for you. Thanks.
Year 10 out of 200 metres!
Oh my
Get yourself
God.
over to the starting
What have I
line
done?
quickly.
Sorry for everything.
That's a blooper.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Graceful, graceful.
Oh my God. What have I done? I don't know how I got it so wrong. It's not that hard to put on a bib.
You were really trying.
It still was wrong.
It's like a toga.
That's a blooper.
Oh,
Toby almost rapped today, but he didn't because I fucked up too many times.
Yeah, appreciate that.
It's really good. Well, actually, when people see this, I won't care if they know that I did that on purpose.
Yeah, it was so that I
But the
could rap
blooper I did
tomorrow,
was
not
on
today.
purpose. That was just me being an asshole.
You kept putting it on back to front as well.
Will was handing me inside out and back to front.
It was
I was
just
trying to figure out
it
without
was not
looking down.
ideal.
I'm just sorry.
Year 10s and 11s doing the 200 meters.
Sorry for everything.
You obsessed with me or something?
Bitch, he didn't even see you.
Starting positions, please!
And Miss Singh just didn't notice Charlie was swapped in. Okay.
On your marks! Get set!
I forgot he could run really fast. Come on.
Hi everyone, I've hidden you in my book. So I'm going to film the POV of what my book sees while we do a take. I hope you enjoy.
Yes, Charlie! Go on! Go on, Charlie! Yay!
At first I thought a song called Because I Love You by Montaigne was a thematically odd choice for what is essentially a Ben and Charlie scene, but when you listen to the lyrics, the song is actually about an unhealthy relationship. The finish line should not be on a curve like this.
You don't get to have an opinion about anything I do. I understand that you're figuring out your sexuality, but you don't get to make me feel like crap anymore just because you hate yourself. Just leave me alone. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
I should have been a better friend and I've been kind of
I shouldn't have gotten angry at you.
Find friendship.
I made it so hard for you to tell me.
I should have been looking out for you as much as you were looking out for me.
Some people say Charlie had nothing to apologize for here. The truth is he had been a bit neglectful of Tao, spending so much time with Nick and leaving Tao all alone. It's especially bad that Charlie knows Tao so well, so he would have known that being the last to know would hurt Tao regardless of how it came out, so he isn't 100% blameless there. I just think it's nice he apologized too, because Tao was hurt even though Tao didn't make the situation easy for Charlie. The animations are back. We've seen these seagulls before, all the way back in episode 1, foreshadowing the beach date.
Yeah, we should be able to post
Clap
that
aboard
one
it. I'm
online.
taking video.
Marker, sound speed. Evergreen, take 3.
Alice drew on some of the clapperboards used for filming. Heartstopper used the codename Evergreen to keep it secret what show they were really making. Shows and movies often do this to prevent leaks. Why would you wear a skirt for PE? Some other Higgs girls are wearing shorts, so it seems like you can choose which one. Why would you choose a skirt? You have to wear shorts under that anyway. So impractical. Makes no sense to me.
I had a javelin double whose name was Toby as well. And he was like sort of helped me understand a bit about how to throw a javelin. But I threw one real javelin and they were like, oh, okay, Toby, that was good. And then basically someone came out and brought me this like wooden rod which had CGI tape on either end. And they were like, I think we'll CGI it, don't worry, you just throw this. And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry.
Toby's about to be throwing a javelin. Wow. Toby, you're so good at it. Look at that. Look at him go. Toby. Look at it go.
Rolling! Woo! Oh my god.
Bronze medal, third best place. It's the end of Toby for this series. Thank you, Isaac.
So that's a wrap on Toby Donovan. Netflix's Toby Donovan.
Playing Isaac.
Playing Isaac. Netflix's Heartstopper. We love you, Toby.
Didn't it take you like 4 months?
Yep. I was in here every lunchtime.
Alice confirmed on Twitter that Elle and Charlie canonically met in the art room.
I was in here every lunchtime. Is it awful being at Trim without me?
Yes. Everything's awful without you.
Tao's friends really are his whole world.
I don't think it counts as a landscape if it has people in it.
Actually, that's not true. You can have people in landscapes.
Is it awful being at Trim without me?
Yes. Everything's awful without you. I'm okay now. I promise.
I don't know if it's a thing of I'm going to be okay. I think it definitely, there is a relationship between the scene with Nick and then the scene with Elle later on. I think he's slowly making amends and he feels like he's in a better place and it's all come together nicely and it's finally resolved. And the resolution has led to him realizing the kind of change in his friendship with Elle, because Elle's been there for him the whole time. And I think maybe something to do with the resolution has kind of made him reflect and kind of change his ideas. Yeah, we're really getting into the deeper themes of the show. I'm loving it.
Tao's hands change position pretty drastically here from the table to his lap between takes.
I was gonna tell you something. You've got the wrong team's face paint on. Okay, it's not coming off.
Why would you use your sleeve?
Go find my old locker.
So in episode 8, there's the scene with Tao and Elle in the art classroom, and it's like the big cliffhanger of the show. And I think that was just so much fun to kind of see that kind of arc and the development in their story kind of reach a point of change. And I just had so much fun shooting that scene with Yaz, and the art class just looked wonderful. Like the art department just they went for it with that classroom, and yeah, I'd have to say probably that's.
And now Tao has his own butterflies that follow Elle. He finally understands his feelings.
That's right.
Yes, Chetna! Oh, she's so cute.
The red versus blue rugby match is about to begin.
Photographers of makeup, hair, loads of people.
Oh, a vlog? No, not a vlog. Hi everyone, it's a sports day. Quite hot today.
It's really hot today. You know it's 29 degrees.
29?
It's gonna be.
Gosh,
It's only
I've got
11
too many
o'clock.
layers on for that.
Got 2.
Yeah, but the bib's
1 and a
actually quite
half.
sweaty. And I've got a thick polo.
That's really sad.
I think it was a character choice.
So just repeat what I said.
Okay.
Turn over, please, A camera.
Turn over, please, A camera.
Mask off.
Masks off, everyone. Do you want to do one?
Tell me when the rugby team's set.
This is so fun. Siren.
It's so loud.
Apparently the cuffed sleeves are peak bisexual fashion. Nick rocks the cuffed sleeves and pant legs often in the comics as well. Despite the situation with Nick, Charlie is still happy to watch him do well at rugby. From the rehearsals before filming started. I wonder if Kit originally had lines here since he's holding the script. The corridor scene was rewritten after all. Pretty much everyone thought Nick was going to kiss him here, and it's so good he didn't. It's much more tactful to go have a discussion in private, especially when they are in such an uncertain place. Nick wouldn't just assume Charlie would be okay with a huge public gesture, especially when he doesn't know if Charlie even wants to continue the relationship.
POV.
Oh, my latte.
Not yet.
It's really sad.
It's actually really sad.
Oh, I hate you for today, man.
No, don't worry, it's fine. You don't make me hate. I know you're crying because it's me going.
Look at
That's
this.
what
Look
it
at my
is.
eye. It's like literally shut.
Mine feel really puffy as well.
Yeah, that's a lovely moment. I think I've seen a lot where people are like, oh, that's her redeeming moment. I think there's, in terms of her thought process in that moment, there's a lot of things running through her mind. She realizes, one very key reason why Nick doesn't want to be with her is that he likes somebody else. Like I said, they have this friendship where they recognize things in each other, her and Nick. And I think the conversation they have on the bench is sort of, it makes sense in another light when she sees Nick and Charlie together. And I think there's a happiness, there's a happiness for Nick in seeing, and I think there's also a melancholy in knowing that he can be so brave as to step away from those expectations that we were talking about. And I think there's a sense of like pride and feeling kind of amazed by such a bold move when she knows that, you know, he's struggled with these expectations and he's just gone and blown that out. And she's like, well, he's done that. Like, that's incredible. Maybe, and I think there's an element of like, maybe I can do that then. Maybe I can stop trying to fit in a way that I'm not quite fitting.
Sir, aren't you going to tell Nick Nelson that he has to do the match?
Nah. I'm good.
So this guy is James McEwan, and he will become more significant in season 2, although we don't exactly know the details yet. He's played by Bradley Riches and was credited in season 1 as Student 3. There was actually a fan theory that he might be James from volume 3 of the graphic novels floating around before season 2 and James's character got confirmed. I even originally had this text in the earlier edit of this video. It was so fun to see that the fans figured it out before even the actor knew he was going to be James.
You know who this motherfucker look like, low-key? Look!
James has a very small role in the comics. He only appears in one scene of the gang playing Spin the Bottle originally, but it seems like his part will be significantly expanded for the show. I'm excited to see what Alice has come up with for him. Isaac is ignoring the romantic moment and reading There Is No Planet B, a handbook for the make or break years by Mike Berners-Lee. This is a book about climate change and other environmental and economic challenges and how we could improve our planet. Trust Isaac to have some light reading in the sun while others do sports.
I don't want to break up. I know people have hurt you, and you feel like I'd be better off without you, but I need you to know that my life is way better because I met you.
This whole speech is so perfectly exactly what Charlie needs to hear. That talk with Tao really helped Nick understand exactly what the problem is and what Charlie needs.
I don't care about getting into fights or pissing off my mates or anything like that. It's all worth it to be with you. I mean, you are the kindest, most thoughtful and caring and an amazing person in the whole world. And if you really want to break up, then I would respect your decision, but I want us to be together.
It's so important that Nick says that too. He respects Charlie and wants to make sure Charlie is making these decisions because he wants to, not to protect Nick.
Nick, you're my favourite person. Nick. I need you to believe me. Nick, I believe you.
While this moment didn't happen in the comics, Alice has made this illustration of it.
I believe you.
What is your favourite Nick and Charlie scene from the show? And, very importantly, why?
Ooh. Probably the scene in episode 8 after Nick has, in the corridor after Nick's taken Charlie from sports day. I really love that scene. I think it's like the classic Hollywood end of like a romantic film, which I feel like queer characters never really got. So it's great to like have that like, I think in the script, the kiss was like Alice described it as a real romantic Hollywood kiss. And I just really loved that.
Also, a fun bit of trivia about that scene is that I fully rewrote it 1 week before we shot it. I had like, sorry.
How incredible is that? It's been that good.
It was like I had done all the scripts properly in advance, like, which is, as I've discovered, that's actually quite rare for TV to have the scripts all done and complete like before the shoot starts. But that one scene, I just knew that there was something off about it, and so like we got really far into the shoot and suddenly I was like, I need to change this scene. But yeah, I'm really glad that I did.
You write it in the bowling alley?
Yeah, I was sitting in the bowling alley like with my laptop.
How incredible is that? Like,
mine is the slow-mo kiss. You know when they kiss in the corridor at school for the first time, and there's like a slow-mo as they like switch. It's like, oh, just, yeah, it's amazing. Wholesome vibes.
In the course of 8 episodes, we got from this
He doesn't even like people seeing us talk to each other in the corridors.
to this.
We're in the corridor. Oh. So what? You free on Sunday?
Good thing he asked about Sunday, because it's pretty important we don't flake out on Tao's Saturday movie night again.
Can you tell me where we're going?
No?
I don't think I've ever been in this direction.
I am in the show.
Yeah.
In fact,
right.
yeah. Little cameo. I'm on the train in episode 8.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh my god, not
Just
you doing a
sitting
little
there.
Marvel stand.
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
would, yeah,
Absolutely do
that is my Stan Lee moment.
Yeah.
I would. Please signs, please.
Nick is wearing Charlie's color, yellow, signifying the sunshine Charlie has brought to his life.
Oh my god!
From Alice Oseman's Instagram. This was the last shot we filmed for the show. It meant a lot to me because this is the street that I used as a real-life reference while drawing this page of the comic back in May 2018. We weren't even going to use Herne Bay initially as it was quite far away from our other locations. But after spending a long time during pre-production searching for the right beach, we eventually decided it was the perfect place, which meant we could use this street for this moment. It was just one of the many ways the crew of Heartstopper worked so hard to preserve what's in the comics, and it made me very happy. The people on the merry-go-round are all crew members, and they had to keep going around and around until they were done with the shots.
Well, I was in the sea. Yeah, in the UK.
It's partly because we shot it right at the end. And when you get to the end of the shoot, the relief, especially when when you think you've got some good stuff, the relief is so enormous. But when we went to Herne Bay and we got to shoot Charlie and Nick's day on the beach, and we had to pare down crew, so it was slightly more. The team was smaller, so it wasn't quite the machine that you usually get. And we were like the first thing we filmed that day was Nick and Charlie walking down the boardwalk. And they kiss before they go on the merry-go-round. And the woman who ran the chip shop came out and she went, "Oh, that's so lovely." And it was just one of those moments that just really made my day. A passerby her heart was being melted by the story that we were telling. And we got chips for lunch, so it was the perfect day.
Only time we see Charlie eating food in the show. He must be feeling very good and safe here.
Just are the characters. We're just there to support them. And
I've seen some people say, why didn't they use the take where Kit actually caught it in his mouth? One reason would be Joe breaking character and pointing at him while looking at the crew. This is floor runner Jennifer Allen, who was featured a lot in Toby's vlogs.
hi everyone.
Last day. Me and Jenna both got fantastic makeup on.
Jen over and out.
Jen over and out.
Another person we came to know from Toby's vlogs, key floor runner Reese Downey, was also supposed to be featured in the beach date montage as Balloon Boy, but he was cut from the scene.
We're all tired, it's Friday, I want to die, and that's all you're getting from me. Thank you, good night.
There's not enough room on the stool. Wait, you're perfect seat. Did it accept it?
In the comic, this is the second time Charlie sits on Nick's lap in a photo booth. The first time is in a mini-comic called Moments.
Okay, I think so. What was that for? That's actually really, really cute. They are really cute.
Subtitles are wrong here, as we heard before. From Alice Oseman's Instagram. I actually wasn't expecting this scene to be a fan favorite, but I'm very happy that it is. On the day these photos were taken by director's assistant Sam Aber, and then Patrick Walters and I only had 5 minutes to choose which photos were on the photo sheet before they needed to be printed out to film that shot. We thought you'd like to see the photos as well as some of the outtakes. In the comic version they are listening to Still Together by Mac DeMarco.
I was thinking, what if I came out?
Do you really want to?
I really want to.
Charlie always making sure he's not rushing or pressuring Nick unintentionally.
I know I've been pretty unsure of everything for a while, but, like, I'm definitely bisexual.
There needs to be love for bisexuals, right?
I want to tell the people who matter. And I want you to be able to tell people too. Oh my God, I like you so much. And I love liking you.
That may seem like a funny cop-out way of saying I love you without saying I love you, but it's actually a really important distinction for both of them. Nick is telling Charlie he's not disappointed in himself or ashamed of liking him. He's fully come to terms with it. For Charlie, that is extra important to hear because Ben did like Charlie to some degree, but he absolutely hated that he liked Charlie.
I like Charlie Spring in a romantic way, not just a friend way.
This is funnier in the comic because he stops to consider for a while and then clarifies in a run-on sentence with no space between words. He just had to make sure the ocean understood what he meant.
1000, take one.
What?
In the comic, Charlie starts crying here.
I never thought this would happen to me.
Me neither.
Does this mean we're boyfriends?
Yes. Was that not already established the last 10 times we made out?
I don't know, we never, like, confirmed it. Why are we like this?
Because you're 15 and 16 and adorable.
You're my boyfriend! I'm your boyfriend! We're boyfriends! Don't dare drop me! I'm not gonna drop you. Stop it! Okay, I think we're wet enough now. Okay.
I want to be held the way Nick Nelson holds Charlie Spring.
Yeah.
Aww.
I'm good at holding things and holding people, and that's what I do. So, yeah, there's a lot of I think because I was basically threatening to drop him, and it's because he was giving me a bit too much attitude on that day, and it was the last day, and I just felt like I could really, you know, I could drop you in the sea right now, and they're not going to fire me. It's the last day, so.
Kit does go with hugs.
Bella, or Baby Queen, said that I give some of the best hugs in the world.
Okay, so which was your favorite scene as a viewer and why?
I think the beach scene at the end, I think We're Boyfriends is so good, and it's just ripped straight out of the comic. I read the comic when I was younger, and I remember that meaning a lot to me then, and I think Kit, especially in that scene, did such a good job.
And, you know, for him, Charlie is sort of like home, you know?
Nick's mom, Sarah, is also wearing yellow. Also, cinematographer Diana Olifirova has worked her magical realism in the hallway lights again.
The setup of this scene is Nick has just had the best day out with Charlie at the beach, and I wanted this scene in the kitchen to feel joyful because a really special thing is about to happen. Even in the visuals of the scene, in what they're wearing, you know, Nick is in this yellow top and so is his mum. And the kitchen for them is like a safe space. So I wanted to capture that feeling of home, I guess.
You know, Charlie's like my best friend.
If you're going to ask if he can come on our Menorca holiday this year, the answer's no, because I've already booked the ticket.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
So when talking to Kit about Nick's character, we talked a lot about the expectations that Nick has on himself in being a certain type of boy, in this case, a popular straight boy, and the feelings that he has when working out that he's not what people think he is. The other thing that I really wanted Kit to focus on as well was that Nick's feelings for Charlie just brighten his life and inspire him. He's ready to tell his mum about this. He's comfortable in his feelings for Charlie and he wants to share that. I don't think she completely knows that there is something going on between Nick and Charlie, but she has her suspicions. She is just open to hearing whatever Nick wants to tell her.
What's she like? She's just amazing. So like effortlessly good, you know. It was almost scary to act alongside her because it was just like, oh my.
You had that scene that all the fans are very excited about, which is the like coming out scene.
Yeah, I
love she has such a good scene.
That's my favourite.
It
scene
made me cry and cry.
Yeah, and when I first read that scene, I was like in tears.
But that's the thing. When we first were shooting that scene, we were reading it through because before every scene we sort of read through the lines, and normally you go like 50%, and then suddenly I saw like a tear like stream down Olivia's face. And I was thinking, like, oh my god, like I need to up my game right now because that's what she's doing on the read through. Like, yeah, I think I got a tear out in the first take. I was like, yes, okay, that's me. I'm done.
He's my boyfriend.
I'm also going to be really selfless and say the scene that I'm not in and say that your coming out scene was my favourite scene. I remember reading it in the script before we shot it, like crying while I was reading it. And then I wasn't on set the day they filmed it, but I made them show it to me when I was doing ADR, and I just cried then, and every single time I watch it since I cried, because Kit is just very, very good in it, and Olivia Colman obviously is very, very good. But yeah, that's my favourite song.
Charlie's my boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, there was a beautiful tweet that came out that from a Heartstopper fan days after the show came out, and it was basically talking about after showing their parents a scene, like quite an important scene in the show, near the end of the show with my character, they essentially used that to come out to their parents. Which I think is like one of the most, I mean, for me, that's the most gratifying moment in my career ever.
Yeah.
And for an 18-year-old to be able to have that kind of effect on anyone's life is like unbelievable.
Yeah. Did I tell you that when we were at the BAFTAs the other day, we bumped into Olivia and we told her about the tweet and she started crying. She started crying.
By Olivia, he means Olivia Colman as well. Yeah. First name basis, of course.
First name basis.
Yeah. But yeah, the Olivia Colman.
I still like girls, but I like boys too.
That is actually the first time we see him admit he likes boys in general, not just Charlie.
We're going out. And I just wanted you to know.
Oh, baby. Oh. Thank you for telling me that. Oh, I can't remember my words. I say something else. Thank you. I just got all overwhelmed with your little face.
Nick's mum's reaction is so immediately supportive, and there's no awkwardness and no blame or shame. It's the best outcome I think anyone could hope for when coming out to a parent. So I really hope that it inspires parents, particularly if they're ever in the same situation as Nick's mum.
Oh, thank you for telling me. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel like you couldn't tell me that.
It was important for Nick to come out to his mum at the end of this story because Nick's journey in Heartstopper is kind of a journey of self-discovery and figuring out his identity. And the end point of that being him coming out to one of the most important people in his life signifies that he has found a really strong sense of self-acceptance.
You don't have to say you like girls if you don't.
No, it's called bisexuality, if you've heard of that.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I wasn't born in the 18th century.
In the comic, Sarah says she wasn't born in 1920. The change to the 18th century is most likely a nod to Olivia Colman's role as Queen Anne in The Favourite, which is set in the 18th century.
Me and Charlie started going out a couple months ago, but I started liking him way before that.
Oh, I love you. Oh.
My favourite scene to watch was probably the very last scene with Olivia Colman. I think that really hit the audience, and it really is such an amazing scene and such an amazing performance from both actors, and I think that was probably my favourite scene.
And now we're gonna tell people?
This made a bit more sense in the graphic novels because there they hadn't told anyone other than Tara and Darcy yet at this point. Of course, Tori also knew. While in the show Charlie's friends already know, this was said before Nick told his mom, and Charlie also hasn't told his parents. There's also the question of everyone else in school and Nick's friends, etc. Looking forward to seeing how that goes in season 2.
We shot the high angle shot that ends the whole series. We had to shoot early in the car park of the school. This is going to spoil the magic for the viewers, for the lovers of the show out there. But it's if you just imagine like a tiny little square of pebbles, and Nick and Charlie sat on their beach towels, and then the portable toilets being next to them, and the car park, and Deanna, you created a sun with a big lamp. Shooting that, that final shot before we shot the scene proper, is full of quite big. It's quite scary because you don't know what the weather conditions are going to be on the day, and you don't quite know how. You have to block a scene and work out what the staging at the very end is before you've actually blocked the stuff leading up to that. So that's always quite a big challenge.
Scene complete. That is a picture wrap. Thank you so much. Well done.
Thank you. You've been amazing.
This show is truly a work of love, and the people involved in creating it are very passionate about it. Here are some clips of people involved in Heartstopper talking about how much the show means to them and the world.
And it really is a team effort, which is, I'm a writer, I'm used to working by myself, but this has, really highlighted what you can do when there are so many different talented people involved. I want Heartstopper to inspire young people, especially young LGBTQ+ people, to be whoever they want to be and to believe that they can find happiness and find love and find friendship. Because it is a joyful story, everyone can get something out of it, so...
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is amazing. I think it was finding it and just responding to it emotionally, first and foremost, because as a reader, I just became a fan instantly because I felt like in following the story of Nick and Charlie, that I was somehow being represented, or my younger self was being represented in this way that I'd never felt before. And so I instantly had this sort of unshakable belief in it. And I think it sort of woke me up to the fact that there really should have been a TV show aimed at that younger demographic, featuring predominantly LGBTQ+ characters. And why hadn't there been? And so once, I got over the sort of like the passion and the fandom, and I kind of put the, professional producer hat on, I was like, we've got to make this. This has to happen. What I've learned through this process is that teenagers are so brave and they can do anything, literally. I've never worked with a young cast before, and we really wanted them to be actual teenagers playing teenagers. So to have that kind of youthful excitement on set every day just reminded me and and brought me back to when I was a teenager. I think we wanted teenagers today, like the Gen Z audience that it's aimed at, to go, I can see myself in this. This feels like it's for me. And I think in trying to achieve that level of authenticity, older viewers also hopefully can look back to their teenage years and see themselves in it as well. I mean, I certainly did that because I had such an affinity with Charlie, because I felt like when I was 16, 17, I had curly dark hair. I was sort of anxious, coming to terms with my sexuality. And so I just really had that kind of like bond to that character. And when I first met Alice, actually, I even took a picture of myself that I thought I looked quite Charlie-esque in. And I wanted Alice to know, I was like, look, this is me, I was Charlie.
Please let me produce
this and protect this character, because he's I see myself in it.
We made this show for a younger audience, and it's based on a graphic novel that Alice Oseman created. That was already a huge hit with a teen audience, and I think we worked very hard to get all those references right. The music was right for the Gen Zers. The clothes are right. All the cultural references are right. And it's about first love, which is something that I think resonates with everyone. We were very keen not to make a childish show. We wanted to make a show about a complex, emotional life that these characters had. But as you say, I think it's really interesting how the shows appeal to an audience beyond that Gen Z teen audience, and it's struck a chord with audiences who are more my age, who are quite far from falling in love for the first time, but lots of comments like, I wish I'd had this show when I was 14, or these are the teen years I could have had, and it's been really interesting actually to hear that sense of melancholy that many people my age have about a kind of a teen romance that they never had. I think in the 80s, when I was a teen, it was the time of Section 28, where the promotion of homosexuality was banned, and I grew up with an enormous sense of shame about being gay, and to the point where I remember as a teen, if I had a thought about fancying another boy, I would think that I'd committed a thought crime, and I'd try and purge it from my mind in case somebody could read that in my face. And what's amazing about Heartstopper is it celebrates the purity of falling in love for the first time, and there's a sense of a real sense of celebration of what that emotion is like, and it's wonderful.
It's very rare that you get this extra level, which I feel with this project, with Heartstopper specifically, that it feels like it really deeply means a lot to a lot of people. Absolutely. And so talking about that has been very important, not only for other people, but also for myself, because I had such a strong connection to the book when I first read it, and the people who made it, and for so many reasons. And it's a shame that it is, but it feels very new that so many queer people have been involved in telling a queer story. And it's just, also these people have become some of my best friends. It's so rare that you get to go on this experience as a group of people as well. It was such a joyous, but also important, but also kind of liberating book, and it felt so celebratory. It was amazing. I'm finishing it in that first day, and then going and finding the second and third, and I had this horrible feeling in my stomach of like, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I don't get this one.
Wow. Okay, that's big for an actor.
And it's not just to say that. Like I sent my agent a voice note, basically saying that, like, I've never done that with a project before. Just saying, I have to be a part of this in some way. It felt so important. It felt so rare. It felt so, you could feel this thing existing just outside of the story. This magic of whatever the Heartstopper magic is, and I just felt like I had to be a part of it.
It's so nice to see that the cast have all become such good friends. You don't know if that's going to happen. They might all hate each other. But in this case, they've just really bonded, like, immediately. They all get along so well. And it just makes a really positive, lovely atmosphere on set where everyone's having a good time and everyone's supporting each other, because it's a big thing to be cast in a Netflix show.
It's incredibly important for us as LGBTQ plus people to have our stories represented on screen. TV and film is the art form of our age.
To finally see a show that is British about all of these issues. Wow, chef's kisses.
What does Heartstopper mean to me? Heartstopper means change. It means progression.
Heartstopper means beautiful love.
And that's it for the last extra long episode of my Heartstopper deep dives in season 1. I fully intend to make these for season 2 when it comes out as well, so please subscribe if you want to find me again then. I also have a Twitter just for this project, @HSDeepDives. Do keep in mind that it will still take months to get these videos done after the next season comes out, because I have to wait for the interviews and other content to actually be released, and editing also takes absolute ages. I only started uploading the first versions of these when I had been working on all of them for 2 months for hours almost every day. Hope you had fun, I definitely did. I'm still going to pop in from time to time to post smaller videos about Heartstopper, so I'm probably not going to be entirely dead until season 2 comes out. This project has been amazing and I've loved seeing the channel grow. Thank you for being so lovely and supportive in the comments.